Have you ever had fear stop you from pursuing a goal? Well, I have. I was afraid to a point where my hands would literally shake if I spoke to anybody about starting a YouTube channel. There's this mirage, this invisible force which I created for myself, which prevented me from starting. The more I told myself I'll do it later, the bigger this mirage got, the bigger the walls. It was suffocating. It's not until I put my hand through the mirage and it all disappeared and I realized there was nothing there to begin with. So let's help you make this realization for yourself.
Here's the 7 biggest fears and excuses I had.
Firstly, fear of other people's opinions and of being judged. Whoever you think, whether it's family members, your best friends, your acquaintances, people in school, people at university, people at work, and for whatever reason they think they might judge you, shame you, cringe at you, make fun of you, pity you, whatever. Hear me out for just a brief moment. You'd be surprised by how little people actually care. Everybody lives in their own world with their own set of problems. We constantly think there's a spotlight on us, like everybody's judging us, everybody's looking at us. But in reality, we have to realize is everybody has this spotlight effect on themselves. No one actually cares about you. Definitely not as much as you care about yourself. You are your own worst critic. Another thing to remember here is you're going to die, and no one will remember you. Here's what Hormozi had to say in his tweet. Everyone's going to forget about you 6 months after you die, and in 3 generations, everyone who ever knew you will be dead. Probably worth doing what you want to between now and then, because everyone's going to forget about you eventually anyways. And I know it's very difficult to believe, especially before making your very first YouTube video or putting yourself out there. 99.9% of the fear will literally vanish as soon as you upload your very first YouTube video. And this was just extraordinarily difficult for me to actually believe, because I kind of built this up in my head. Take this from somebody who was afraid to upload a YouTube video for over 7 years. I don't know, it's just crazy to really think about and look back at it. But yeah, all the fear is before you upload your first YouTube video. Just probably 99.99% of it, you're uncertain, you don't know what's gonna happen. But as soon as you press upload, and for the next video it's going to be about 0.001 of that fear left remaining. Some of those things you just have to trust me, just try out for yourself. Maybe you create a private video and just see how that goes. If you can simply make your first YouTube video, then you can make the next 100. This is the biggest thing I wished I would have internalized, instead of just procrastinating on the matter for years and years and years and years. So here's some food for thought. Every man has 2 lives, and the second one begins when he realizes he only has one. The only thing you can do is make the most of what you were given. Later you would have wished you'd done this thing, and this feeling of suffocation will always be so much worse than a tiny bit of discomfort in the moment, and your future self will thank you later. Okay, there's a really cool book called 5 Regrets of the Dying. The title kind of explains itself, but it's a book by Bronnie Ware about her experience with being a palliative care nurse, which basically means she was looking after people before the final breaths. It's about the wisdom people had in the last moments and about the top 5 regrets she had. And the biggest regret, I wish I had the courage to live the life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. You're making these excuses which you think are totally rational. I understand, I did exactly the same thing, but how long can you afford to be making these kind of excuses for? Okay, so here's some practical advice to help you start. One of the biggest things is an accountability buddy. Yeah, so sometimes you spend hours and hours on a video and then you look back at it, I'm like, no way can this video see the internet, like it's awful. And your accountability buddy will give you maybe a bit of tough love, saying like, Garrick mate, no one's got to watch your videos, just be quiet and just press publish. And sometimes that is something I need to keep remembering, that my YouTube channel is tiny, like no one's got to watch it, no one's got to care. And this kind of release pressure on myself, and accountability buddy would be great for that. And next thing is joining some sort of community. This builds on the previous point and kind of gives the sense of social pressure. So you can make doing the thing, which in this case is making a YouTube video, the normal thing, and you not doing the thing, which is not making a YouTube video, the weird thing, the odd thing out. We want to belong to a group, which is just simple human instinct. So make sure that the standard of the group raises you up. Let's say that all your friends are overweight, they don't go to the gym, and then for example you start going to the gym, they're going to be like, mate, like, what are you doing? Why are you going to the gym? You're just being weird. Just go play video games with us. Let's go get a burger and stuff like this. This is kind of like negative social pressure, but can also be used positively. Let's say all your friends are creators and all of you are kind of starting to make YouTube videos, some make YouTube videos, etc. So let's say that you're slacking, you haven't made a YouTube video in a couple of weeks. So your friend's gotta turn around and be like, mate, what the fuck are you doing? Just get your fist out of your ass and then go upload something. It's unacceptable. This is one of the main things which finally got me to start making YouTube videos. I invested in the course, and the normal thing to do with people in this course was to make YouTube videos, and not making them was seen as the odd thing out. So your kind of community and your peer group holds you to a standard. I'm gonna underline this point, highlight it. The longer you put it off, the worse the anxiety gets. The bigger you make the mirage inside your head, the bigger the walls, the bigger just the skyscrapers and the buildings. It just looks so real. But the thing is, it's slowly suffocating you. It's slowly coming closer and closer towards you. It's not until you actually put your hand through it and you realize there was nothing there in the first place, the mirage it just disappears, vanishes, and you're going to be left wondering, is this what I was just so scared about? When I uploaded my very first YouTube video, which is coming up for nearly 2 years ago, I was just nervous up to a point, and then I pressed publish, and then I was expecting for something to happen, but no, the video got 0 views, 0 likes, nobody saw the video. Like, nothing happened. Is this what I was afraid of? That's ludicrous, really. And then you realize, what else was I just so wrong about? And you kind of like go over a little search. I'm like, oh, okay, clearly like my 4 pattern about this was just slightly BS as well. So let me just investigate that. Equipment. I need good equipment. I need to spend thousands of pounds on equipment to start. You look at your favorite content creators and you just have a look at the setup, the $5,000 camera they use, the $6,000 lens, and let's just have a look how delusional my thinking was. In about 2017, I thought that as soon as I have a good camera, I would be able to start making YouTube videos. And just how I was, like, I equated good camera equals good YouTube videos and me being able to do anything, which is interesting to say the least. 2017, I finally get this camera. I think it's Panasonic G7. For the time, it was quite a good camera. I placed the camera down and I pressed record. And so I start speaking. I don't know what I spoke about already. Maybe like, hi, I'm Jarek. I want to make YouTube videos about this, this, and that. I don't know, something along those lines. And I remember recording it and just feeling very like just awkward and uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, cool, I had enough. After about 5 minutes, I just stopped the video and end up just looking back at it and just cringing at myself, feeling just how awkward and just uncomfortable I felt. And unfortunately, I actually deleted the footage. Big sad, really. Big sad. It would be quite cool just to look back at it and just reflect. Moral of the story, I was just incredibly delusional thinking that this camera would magically make me start a YouTube channel. After 4 years, when I finally had enough of making excuses, I started off with what I had around me. So I had a £10 tripod and an iPhone 7 Plus, which at the time I think it was like 4 or 5 years old. This is probably the most optimal way of starting anything you're doing. Also, this excuse is just dumb about having good gear, because let's have a look at some pretty big content creators. Let's say KSI. Up to even a year ago, the camera he used for his second channel was a Canon G7X, which is just some vlogging camera, which now goes for about 200 quid. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. So what you have to realize is equipment is not the bottleneck. The bottleneck here is you making videos. What's the minimum amount you actually need? Just make it frictionless. In reality, all you need is a phone. Even get some free editing software on your phone. Here you go, problem solved. If you want to edit, I advise that for your first video, maybe even 2, just forget about editing. You don't need that. It's just an extra layer which you can focus on the next step. The next thing is, right now is not the right time. I will just start when I have more time, when I finish my university semester, when I finish this job, when I go to a different school, when I stop working out, when I start working out. You name it. You have all these excuses. I have all these excuses. I get you. Absolutely can't make the video. Of course we have emergencies. Of course sometimes we're in situations where it's physically impossible. But for 99% of us, like majority of you watching this video, that's not the case. Just have a look at your screen time and just realize how much time you spend on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. What you have to realize is, like, the time will never be right. It will never be perfect. There'll always be a reason why you shouldn't. There'll always be a reason why you need to wait. I know all of us kind of rationalize it. You can breathe out and come to terms that at the start, nobody's going to watch your videos. and that is actually incredible because you can work on your craft and slowly by just 1% improve each video. Okay, quotes. I love my quotes. So firstly, the sooner you start, the faster you will start sucking less. This one is Dan Koh, I'm pretty sure. And here's another one, like a Chinese proverb, is that what you call it? Whatever. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. As much as you're trying to make your first video just perfect and flawless, they'll be average at best. You will sound awkward, you'll feel uncomfortable unless you have some experience in front of a camera, but for majority of us, like myself, that's not the case. And another good quote, you can't steer a stationary ship. The only way you can steer a ship in a different direction is if it's moving. It's the same here, you will figure everything out on the way after you start moving. Over time, as you start moving the ship of content creation, you can course correct. As you make videos, you can figure out what direction you want to turn to, what niche you want to move towards, what does well in your channel, kind of move towards that. Next thing is, big channels have it all figured out. But just like anybody else, they had to start at step one, where they literally knew nothing. Just look at any of your favorite content creators and look how amazing the videos is now. Okay, now go to their videos and sort from oldest to newest. Yeah, and just have a look at the first couple of videos if they haven't privated them. You'll briefly realize that how awkward, uncomfortable and cringy their first videos were. Everything they did is they stuck to the process and they continued to create. You'll be like, no, not him, no, not Matt D'Avella, or not Peter McKinnon, or not, like, let's say Hamza, or let's say Mr. Beast. Like, no, but we're always perfect, right? No, bro, like, they start at step one, they slowly start walking up the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, whatever. And then now we're step 100. Don't compare their step 100 to your step 0. Next thing is, why would anybody want to follow me? It's so much easier to learn something from somebody who's a step in front of you than somebody who is 1,000 steps in front of you. This whole thing about a peer versus an expert. Let's say you're a gamer and you're trying to get into fitness and going to the gym, etc. It'd be so much easier for you to learn something from somebody who's also a gamer, who's been going to the gym for maybe a year or two, rather than a professor who's been in and around the field for 30, 40 years. With your gym gamer YouTuber, he has the same mannerisms. You see a bit of yourself in him. He has the same expressions. Maybe he talks about leveling up or doing side quests, and you can just relate to that just so much more, rather than somebody who's had 40 years experience, because it's just the way they talk, what they talk about, their mannerisms, their jokes just don't land. You're like, oh, I don't understand. Even if that person had just so much more knowledge and so much more experience, like, doesn't matter to you, because like you don't relate to them, you don't want to watch their videos, but you do want to watch your gym gamer friend who's been at the gym for a couple of years, because you just relate to him. You just see a tiny bit of yourself in him. It's like, oh yeah, of course, if he did it, I know that I can too. So in a way, this gym gamer is actually empowering you to start a lot more than the professor who's been doing it for like 40 plus years. Make YouTube videos, and the way you will make the videos will just resonate with somebody just so much more, just because they see just a bit of themselves in you, compared to somebody with like 100k subscribers. It's too late to start. I have nothing original to say. The point here is there's no unique messages, but unique messengers. As long as you say your message in your own voice, that itself is originality. It's another good quote I heard somewhere. I'm not sure where I had it, so I'm gonna use it. There's nothing new under the sun. We're all trying to sell the same sunlight. It just depends what lens you see the sunlight through. Your message will take time to develop, and that's just the way it goes. So at the start, just have 2 or 3 of your favorite content creators in mind. Just try to blatantly copy them, and over time, with you adding your personality to the videos and you slowly failing to copy your favorite content creators, your own style will slowly start to emerge. And you'd be surprised with how many people actually do that. So just have a look at Quentin Tarantino. That is actually something he admits he did. So if it's good enough for him, I think it's more than good enough for you. First 100 YouTube videos. Your first 100 videos will be awful. Embrace it and enjoy the learning process. Thinking that you're going to be incredible, this amazing YouTuber, after your first 1 or 5 or maybe even 25 or 50 YouTube videos is actually very dumb, a bit ignorant, and very delusional. And this is especially if you had no previous experience, just like myself. Again, coming back to looking at your biggest content creators, they definitely didn't start making incredible YouTube videos for a get-go. It's for them just sticking to it, slowly improving every video, just 1%, just one little bit. Over time, all that compounded, and they got to where they are today. This is the mantra you want to stick by in this phase. Stop trying to make a video which you're proud of. Instead, be proud that you made a video. There are multiple just fundamental skills you learn by putting yourself out there and just putting the reps in. And over time, your threshold for what good is will just naturally go up by itself. A year ago, when I look at some of my old videos, I was like, that's a bit cringe, you know? But now the videos are just 10 times better. At least I feel they're 10 times better. And let's say in a year's time, I'm gonna look back at myself and be like, damn, is that well made? That does not look great, you know? And I have no clue where to start. That's another limiting belief. I have no clue where to start. Well, what can I say? Just whip out your phone, put it up, press record, maybe put in some bookshelves if you're feeling fancy, you know, and just talk about anything. It doesn't matter what, maybe your favorite book and why it's your favorite book, maybe favorite quotes, maybe why you're starting a YouTube channel, what you can offer, like what kind of videos you want to make, maybe like 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, it doesn't really matter, bro. Just start and just you'll figure things out as you go along. And here's another incredible quote: if you're not embarrassed by yourself a year ago, you haven't grown enough. You want to make sure that your future self will look back at you and be grateful that you actually started. Don't let another year slide by and then afterwards you just sit down and think to yourself like, what, I would have made so much progress if only I started a year ago. Just don't do that to yourself. Just start now, get your phone out, whip it out, press record, talk about anything, just upload it on YouTube, make it private if you wanted to, and then slowly improve just by 1%. That's all it takes. I'm at 1,000 subscribers, and what's the day today? 30th of August. So I'm probably gonna make a similar YouTube video next year, and we'll see how we're doing, you know. If you want to watch another one of my YouTube videos, maybe about this incredible book called Dopamine Nation, you should click right here and check it out. But yeah, I love you, and I see you again next week. Bye. This is really good for 4 hours of sleep. I feel